first base coach Tim Bogar riding camels and yelling hump day. Manager Dave Martinez wanted something to inspire his team to get over the hump this season and felt camels was the logical choice.
All right, in Houston, where I used to live at the Sam Houston Race Park, they would do, in addition to horse racing, occasionally camel racing, and they would do all these different... That's what I thought this was going to be. I'm not sure how I feel about Bob Henley's attire in this, but... I mean, whatever you do, I guess you do what you got to do to get your team together.
Hold on. What? Did anyone else get the correlation? Because I didn't until I read the script. Like, if you just saw, like, if we walked in and our producer, Keta, was on a camel, would you be like, oh, we have to get over the, like, you know, the early March slump before the tournament starts? Like, would you know that that...
No, I don't really know what to say about this. I get hump day, I mean, camel hump. But you have to explain it.
You got to explain it.
Right, and if you have to explain it, it's really
As Jenna knows with a lot of her jokes, the best jokes are the ones that you have to explain to the audience.
We had to explain how you Bow Wow was, so you know.
And names yesterday, which I got a lot of Twitter conversation about. Time some stories to start your morning. The Pelicans, they won their 7th straight game last night. They beat the Spurs 121-116. Anthony Davis, once again, leading the way. He had 26 points and 15 boards last night. What a stretch he's been having. Chris, how impressed have you been with the Pelicans lately?
Very impressed. Credit to Alvin Gentry doing a great job with this team. I'm going to say this, Nick. I've been a little bit slow. We just talked about this a few days ago. I think I'm ready to not only put Anthony Davis in my top 3 MVP vote, I think he's second right now.
I knew that was coming.
There's a distant second because it's James.
That was coming.
What's not to love? They have basically the same record as Cleveland against tougher competition. He's doing it without Boogie. I'm not saying he's better than LeBron James, but he's second right now.
There's nothing not to love, but I knew this was coming. Just like I knew last year you were going to make the argument, you know, I think Kawhi's ahead of LeBron in the MVP. I knew it was coming.
No, I knew like I'm a LeBron hater.
I'm not saying that, but I don't forget LeBron for a moment. Boogie is certainly, I mean, Anthony Davis, I would have him 3rd, so we're really parsing here. He's been extraordinary. And I just want to say one thing about San Antonio. Because the West is so jam-packed, the Spurs right now have 26 losses. The LA Clippers have 28, and the Clippers are not in the playoffs right now. The Spurs, despite losing Aldridge early in this game to an ankle injury, had a 5-point lead with less than 3 minutes left. That could have been a huge win to steal. A good win at home after the rodeo road trip. You lose your best player. Kawhi's not back yet. They were in position to win this game, and they couldn't do it. That could be a huge game for both of these teams in the standings, and Anthony Davis was great again.
Great point on the Spurs, and great win for the Pelicans because, look, they beat Phoenix, Milwaukee, which is a good win, but young team. To beat the Spurs, that's even without Aldridge. That's a team that's a good win.
Beat the Spurs on the road.
Let's go to the NFL draft now. Don't count Andy Reid among those suggesting 2016 Heisman winner Lamar Jackson make the move to wide receiver. When asked about Jackson playing quarterback in the NFL, Reid said, quote, he's pretty good. I'd give that a whirl. Now, keep in mind, last year the Chiefs drafted quarterback Patrick Mahomes, 10th overall. I know this is a bit of a stretch to assume Lamar would play in Kansas City, but Nick, would you like to see Lamar Jackson on the Chiefs?
Sure. I like Lamar Jackson a lot. The Chiefs are my team, notwithstanding what they did with Marcus Peters. Where I'd really like to see Lamar Jackson, though, is a place where he'd have a chance to compete for a starting spot. And that's not Kansas City. I don't want to see Lamar Jackson as a wide receiver. I want to see him get a fair shot at playing quarterback in this league. I think he can do it. I understand the questions about his style and his size, not his height, but his girth, if you will, if he's going to be able to handle the physical pounding of the NFL. I'd like to see him go somewhere he can have a fair competition for the starting position. That's not Kansas City where Mahomes is the starter.
You don't want him in Kansas City filling in for Peters at cornerback?
No, I don't.
Give him a shot there.
Next to Tyreek Hill in the slot? No.
Look, I like what Andy Reid said. He said, I'd give him a shot at quarterback. Now, he wasn't saying if that doesn't work out, you move him somewhere else. And that's what I'd like to see. I'm not mad at Bill Polian's comments about maybe he should move to receiver. What I would do is give him a shot at quarterback, and if it doesn't work, you know he's got the speed and a lot of athleticism to maybe play receiver if he can catch. I have questions about him in the NFL. I think they're accuracy questions, and I think mainly his size as a running quarterback. I don't think you can survive in the NFL as a running quarterback, especially at that size.
As thin as he is.
Yeah.
Moving on, even though Nick Foles led the Eagles to the Super Bowl, the Eagles are still deciding his future. Doug Peterson said they'll have more open communication with Foles about what's next. Chris, what should Philly do with their backup quarterback?
Look, they seem to like Sudfeld, you know, the third stringer. That I think they feel like that's giving them a little more leverage than they might otherwise have. But I think they keep the communication with Foles. That's smart. They're going to respect him. They said if we're going to trade him, we're going to let him know. We're not going to blindside him. But I think also it'll be two ways where if Foles goes to them and says, look, I really would like to go somewhere and start. I don't think he will. He sounded like he's fine being the backup. I think they would respect him enough, say, hey, you helped us win the Super Bowl. We like Sudfeld enough. We would move you. I think you keep him till you know if Wentz is healthy.
That's the key.
And if not, then you can move.
If Carson Wentz were fully healthy right now, there would be a much bigger conversation about what is Nick Foles' trade value. The team that misses out on Kirk Cousins and doesn't like the quarterbacks in this draft, would they want to trade for him? But it is absolutely in play that Carson Wentz not only doesn't play in training camp, but is not ready to play until the beginning of October. That was a major leg injury he suffered late in the season. That's why I think they have to hold on to Foles at least for now. Now, they could do what I suggested, which is call up Cleveland and say, Cleveland, we want the 1, the 4, and your next 2 number 1s, and we'll give you Carson Wentz. But nobody, everyone thinks that.
Would you do that?
I would have the conversation. I would have the conversation.
Let me ask you this. If, let's say, Wentz, and I know Wentz has to miss the first 5 games, and Foles is on fire, they're 4-1, 5-0.
I like this conversation.
What do you do?
I like the conversation to have. We can have it more later.
We'll chat about it. Rob Gronkowski is now expected to return to the Pats in 2018. Remember, there have been reports of the tight end considering retirement, but with the weekend wrestling field, he felt it better to stick with football. I'm joking, but not really. Guys, how big a deal is this for Tom Brady and the Pats?
Listen, if I could channel the newlywed